Dusty's 300th was perfectly staged for the Richmond faithful and really to bring his journey with the Tigers full circle. He had one final bow, no longer playing, when he left the MCG and told the Tigers how much they meant to him. In the background now for 18 months has been this idea around Gold Coast, and on Friday, deep in preparation, and you've gone with it's on to a degree.
Oh no, I think it's more than a degree, Jared.
Do you think from here it will happen?
Yeah, I can't say absolutely, but I'd be 80, 90% sure. It's an incredible story. We may never know the full story, and hopefully we do know the full story one day. Has this been 12 months in the making? Did Dusty, or was always going up there, see out one more year at Richmond? Did he go away thinking, no, I'd never played again, and then went away and thought, you know what, I think I can go around again. I might ring the Gold Coast. Now, the story is that they were in chats during the year, then it all went cold, Dusty did what he did, and then Dusty got back in contact and said, yeah, can I come up and talk to you? And he's up on the Gold Coast.
So I'm never squeamish about the greats if they want to have a little bit more on the end, because it doesn't matter. If it goes pear-shaped, that does not reshape. The question more is, would this be the right move for the Gold Coast, do you think?
Oh, would it be the right move? I think there's more advantages than disadvantages. I don't think it's 100-0. I can't give you a black and white answer there. I think there's more advantages. Clearly there's disadvantages. He might not be able to play. He might not be able to move. If we get the version of Dusty this year, it's going to be a bomb. But if we get the big Dusty, where he can kick 32, 33 goals, that's a huge tick.
Essendon have said Zach Merrett's going nowhere. St Kilda have formalised that they're not going after him. Is there any circumstance in which Merrett ends up out of Essendon from here?
Only if Zach Merrett says, I want to leave the football club. And that's not, to my knowledge, he hasn't said that.
Essendon should sort this, shouldn't they? If there's even a hint that he's a little bit discontent, just long-term deal, pay him the money. It's the best money they're spending, and get him on the right deal to lead the club through this next phase properly.
I'll give you the flip side. If Zach Merrett walks into the football club as captain of the club and says, I want to leave, that club's in turmoil.
Yes, it's a disaster.
Utter turmoil.
I'd be doing a 5 or 6 year deal this week.
Redo his contract.
Absolutely. He's got 3 and evidently the money's a bit low. You're the best player, you're the captain, you're lighting the future. We have no more important asset than you. Let's just do this. Bomber for life. That's the headline you want to see on Friday. When I'm preparing, you want to be writing Bomber for life. Done. Sorted.
You should be doing everyone's contract.
Out of Perth tonight,
yep.
Key journos are going with Hayden Skipworth as the new favourite for the Eagles job. So they're in the phase where it would feel like there's 4 coaches going through the last step. Skipworth, Stephen King, Brett Montgomery,
yep.
Andrew McQualter. And the tea leaves say that this is moved in Skipworth's.
Well, I'm not drinking any of the tea leaves. I haven't seen any of the tea leaves, Jared, to be honest. All I know is what I've been reading. I read last week that Stephen King was favourite. Got told over the weekend that Andrew McQualter's looking really good. Now you tell me Monday night that the West Australian journos are saying Hayden Skipworth is now rocketed to favouritism. I know Hayden Skipworth's pretty well respected. He was at Essendon. He's been at a couple of clubs at Essendon. He was then there at Collingwood. So if he gets the job, well done. He's done a very, very good apprenticeship.
This would move by the performances in the inner sanctum right now.
Hawks and Giants, what's the fallout there?
So the Hawks will sign up Sam Mitchell for another couple of years. He'll be a lucrative pay rise. So Josh Battle's been offered 6 years at just less than 900. Look, St Kilda's saying they'd be staggered if they didn't get first-round compensation for him. I'm not sure it's the right trigger right now. GWS is very confident on James Peatling, a 3-year extension. So he's been offered 4 years basically everywhere, but he's happy to stay. So GWS and rival clubs are adamant that Port Adelaide is offering 7 years for Harry Perryman, at least the first 6 years at $850. Port Adelaide says it's only 6 years, but it's extraordinary money for a half-back. Isaac Cumming has 4-year deals at GWS, Adelaide and Port. The feeling from South Australian clubs is he'll get to one of them, leave GWS, but they're not sure yet. He hasn't made that call. So, yeah, big decisions ahead, but probably both of those on the go.
Oh, they're interesting, but they're not as interesting as Dusty, so I want to get to him before we run out of time.
So why is he only being offered $300,000? So, of course, lots of discussions between Dusty and Gold Coast. Then he retired. Radio silence, 2 months. They spent their money everywhere. Mac Andrew, Rioli, John Noble, and then he calls Damien Hardwick. Hey, I'm unretiring myself. They just haven't got the cash. So a really interesting litmus test. You want to play for 300 grand. So if he does, it's the right reasons. Come and play our first final series, show your leadership. And if not, if you're looking for superannuation, well, maybe it's not the right reason. So I think he gets there. But I think that $300,000 figure, I think that's really instructive about whether he wants that money.
I'd be more confident if he was on 700.
How come?
Well, then he has to live up to the 700. My concern would be, 300's a bit of loose change.
He was on 1.4 this year and he didn't really invest in the football club.
He had 3 norms in the back pocket. And he's going to a new club. He's going to have to prove himself. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but it does appear that he's keen to go.
I certainly wouldn't hold anything against him. At the end of the day, if he wants to try and wring the towel dry and give himself an opportunity in an environment where he'll have relative anonymity up there, he does a lot of his off-season training up there in a comfortable system from Damien Hardwick. At the end of the day, if he's fully fit and re-energised and re-motivated, he's been pretty healthy for his career.
The only question is he happy to run around for the Gold Coast VFL side? If need be.
Well, that's right, and that's got to be obviously part of the decision-making and the chat that he needs to have with Damien Hardwick in the upper echelon.
If you're coaching any one of the other 16 sides, so you take Richmond and Gold Coast out, are you taking Dustin Martin at $300,000 on your list?
Of course you are.
In a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Dimmer Hardwick, mad as hell, not going to take it anymore. So he's been on the warpath in his exit interviews. I think Gold Coast loves it. So players including Malcolm Rose has basically got told, you come back in elite shape or go and play with someone else. Now Malcolm thought, OK, I'll go and play with someone else, found some suitors, and then Gold Coast said, no, you're playing with us again. It was a shot across the bows. So I think some player managers have been a little bit disgruntled to say, well, does Gold Coast know what the left-hander is doing from the right? I've spoken to Gold Coast today. They are backing Dimmer to the hilt. It's why we got him here. We want to spark up this place. We've missed finals for 14 years in a row. Jack Lukosius, you're on $1 million. That's big boy money. That's key forward money. You're not playing like that, you're going to get traded. So it's a really different methodology, but I think the club believes they need it.
Player managers were getting a bit uptight about their players getting told to shape up or ship out.
Well, I think they felt maybe there was some miscommunication.
That did prick my ears up.
But the coach was saying one thing and then other people were saying another thing, so they felt maybe there were mixed messages. But Gold Coast's like, no, this is what Dimmer's doing. And you know what? You can shape up or ship out.
Right, anything in the Zach Merrett? Surely not.
No, nothing. No, Essendon, Zach and St Kilda have all said no, so that's a no story there. Collingwood assistant Hayden Skipworth reports out of the West Star that he's now one of the leading candidates for that West Coast job. We've had about 4 different favourites.
What about Nathan?
Well, Nathan said no after all those coffee dates.
What?
Graham Wright?
I thought you were going to take me on as your assistant coach.
You're the man that sacked him, Graham Wright, had another AFL interview last week, another coffee date there. So he would, of course, be under Laura Kane's that 2IC role. So it feels like there's not a vacancy in terms of a club chief executive role. So maybe Graham to the AFL as well.
Nice work, Ralphie. Go and have a chat with those player managers. Get him into a boot camp with them, I reckon. Robbie DeRazio and the boys, they can go and do a bit of training.
What did you say? 14 years without finals. So obviously what they've been doing the previous 14 years ain't working.
It's worthy of getting a little bit of a touch-up, I would have thought.
I would have thought so.
Good on you, mate. Appreciate it.